When we're talking B2B, startup, and small businesses, it's rare that you're having your best customer prospects knock on your door. It leaves us in the position of having to successfully prospect for new business. The first one is a suspect. It's someone that you believe should be approached and could be a good potential customer. Hey, founders and small business leaders. Kenan Rappuchi here. I'm the founder and chief growth officer of Sellerant, startup and small business revenue growth ally. Thanks for joining us this week for an episode of the revenue recipe around a question that I get asked very frequently. And that is, what is a lead? You'd think it'd be a pretty straight answer, but in the real world, there are a multitude of definitions around a very simple question. So let's put it in context. When we're talking B2B, startup, and small businesses, it's rare that you're having your best customer prospects knock on your door at scale, meaning they're not all waiting in line with their bank accounts open, ready to give you their money. Now, it does happen, but it's extremely rare. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in the position of having to successfully prospect for new business. So we're going to talk about that in this week's episode, and we're going to give you some tactics and some best practices so that you can perfect that prospecting technique and put yourself in a position to determine what a lead really is. Okay, let's get some terminology out of the way. I like to use essentially two categories of, we'll just say, leads. The first one is a suspect. A suspect, for example, is someone who fits your target market profile in as much as you can clarify that and validate it based on the position they hold, the company they work at, and their decision-making authority, a lot of which is very nebulous and hard to find out. But it's someone that you believe should be approached and could be a good potential customer. That's a suspect. We call them prospects in our segmentation for HubSpot, and quick plug there. Sellerant is the top HubSpot for startups partner in the entire ecosystem, which is to say Sellerant has done more implementations successfully for more B2B startups and early stage scale-ups than any other partner around the globe in the entire HubSpot ecosystem. And I think there's, last count, somewhere around 8,000. So when we talk about categorizing that initial contact, it's a prospect. When we start with a prospect, which is, again, someone that on the surface and based on any intelligence and intent and signals and AI segmentation, they look like a good potential customer. That's where the starting point of the funnel begins, is that prospect. So let's talk about the steps to developing a prospect into a lead. Very clear distinction. So the first thing you need, and this is step one, you need the right profile. Click on the QR code here on screen to get your target market audience workbook. This is an asset I've curated and put together over 3 decades of launching and scaling small businesses and startups that will help you truly profile and get into the DNA of your ideal target audience. If you need a session on how to complete that workbook and apply it to your own prospecting techniques, send me a DM on LinkedIn, or you can get in touch with me through any number of channels. Put your question here on the YouTube video thread. I'll be glad to get back to you. You have to have a profile that strictly fits that ideal prospect. Knowing that profile, you're then able to compile, which is step 2. Profile 1, compile 2. Compile a list, a target list, CSV, Excel, Google Sheets, doesn't matter. Make sure that the column headers match to your CRM import to avoid some headaches. You can also do integrations, but make sure you don't get data that you won't really need. Another thing we can help you with when you're ready to do this at scale. When you're compiling list of prospects, you need to bear in mind 3 things. Number 1, information on business data is not standardized. You can go into Zoom Info, you can go into Apollo, you can find any number of great resources, AI driven or not, that have all your best prospects in one database. Trust me, it's only about 60% accurate. We know this for a fact. So when you do start compiling your lists, you have to do a little bit of vetting. One of the things we do is for email validation, use a tool called Never Bounce. It's cheap, it works, it validates emails. So as you're compiling your list of prospects, make sure the segmentation matches your CRM, industry, type, category, buying signals, industries, etc. So these are all important attributes to make sure that those prospects you're beginning to outreach to are actually in your target market. If you want to get a quick reference to that, go check out the episode on email absurdity. Okay. I think our buddy Joe Casanova can give you a couple tips on that. Thanks, Joe. Kudos to you, my man. So step 1, profile, get your workbook. Step 2, compile, categorize your information, get just what you need. Now you're prepared for step 3. That's your first touch. Now, a first touch to a prospect is generally done in email and LinkedIn. If you're at an event, that's even better. That's direct engagement one-to-one. You're in a much better position to start that conversation. So that means you're in step 3, engage. Engaging that prospect is the first step toward determining whether that prospect is a legitimate lead. Step 1, profile. You have to be in their DNA, what they're thinking about, worried about, spending most of their time on right now. Step 2, compile, segment, categorize. These are my best fit prospects. Step 3 is engage. That engagement is a first touch where you start to determine if what you believe is true based on your profile and compiling that list of prospects is actually a best fit customer. Now, here's when glory hits. When you get affirmation from that first touch, affirmation takes several forms. One is, hey, I'd love to chat with you more about this. I've been thinking about that. Tell me more about what you have. That is an intent that determines a prospect is interested and therefore wants to enter your sales conversation. That is when that prospect is a lead. Other signs of affirmation, they fill out forms, they hit you up on a chat bot, they engage with your LinkedIn content, they do a download on your website, you have a give to get or some offer that they're engaging with. This is intent that is in response to a first touch in most cases. So back to today's pro tip, a lead is someone who's expressed intent and desire to enter your sales cycle. That's when it's time to qualify. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we've got an upcoming segment on how to qualify that lead to decrease time to revenue, increase revenue win rates faster with less effort and cost. Finally, make sure your data sources are significantly solid, your CRM is set up, and you know the right channels to reach your audience. Guys, come back next week. We've got a hot episode for you. Thanks for coming to visit The Revenue Recipe. See you soon.